topic is the proposed elimination of the Upward Bound program as well as the Educational Talent Search program. And we're talking to Ms. Mary Love and Ms. Victoria Hayes. And of course, Ms. Hayes, we promised that we'd give you and Ms. Love an opportunity to talk about some of the threats, because when we talk about the possible elimination, we have to assume that there's some threat in reference to these programs, and let's see if we might be able to talk about that in such a way that our audience might be familiar with what we are trying to accomplish and why these programs, as far as the two of you are concerned, ought to be allowed to exist or continue.
Well, the elimination of these programs would be detrimental to a lot of students. The Educational Talent Search program is funded to serve 600 participants, but we have gone way over several years in a row. We've served 700, 800.
More than you had the money for in real sense.
And so it's not just going to affect, you know, just a small amount of students. That's 600, 700 students that would not benefit from the program any longer. And a lot of these students come from areas in which they don't have any services like tutoring and resources that they can go to find financial aid for colleges. They really need a lot of assistance at these levels. And we serve the schools that are some of the lower performing schools, some of the ones that have been identified by Metro and by the state that need the assistance. So to eliminate a program that goes in, and we go into the schools, the students don't come to campus, we go to them. So we make the service way available, where we come in and we sit down and we tutor, sometimes one-on-one, where, you know, with a program that is doing that, a lot of teachers don't have the time to sit and do one-on-one with everyone in the class. Ms. Love has allowed tutors from Tennessee State that we are paying out of the budget to go in and serve these students. And this elimination of these programs would cut that out. And we would really appreciate the support of the community to speak to the need of these students.
Well, Ms. Love, what could people do in terms of trying to make those individuals who are threatening this program aware of the much need that you have in reference to this program? What could our audience do to help you this morning?
They could write to their senators, and as a matter of fact, we have already begun and are still in the process of having a letter writing thing for campaign, right? Letter writing campaign, and we have gotten really very good cooperation on the part of the students and of course the parents. In addition to that, we have also have at least 500 people who have signed on a petition, and we are in the process. We've already faxed some of these letters to Senator Lamar Alexander and to Senator Bill Frist, and we're in the process now of packaging these letters and sending them to our senators by way of FedEx. And we hope that this outpouring of support will get their attention and let them know that we really are in need of these programs. We've also asked people on TSU's campus, I've emailed them to ask them to write letters, email letters to them, because we know if they send it through the mail, it's going to take much longer. Either email them or else fax the letters, and of course that means that they should get the material much sooner. We've also met with Congressman Cooper, and he has indicated to us that he will certainly vote against the proposed budget to eliminate these programs, and he will vote to ask that these funds be restored to the Upward Bound program and to Educational Talent Search. So we know we have his support, and we are now trying to get the attention of Senator Alexander and Senator Frist to ask them to do what they can do. We've also gone to IMF, and we've asked the ministers there if they would write letters of support also. And we've contacted other agencies, and we have gone on to ask for appointments with Senator Frist and Senator Alexander when they come to Nashville, and hopefully we will be able to tell them what our needs are, and maybe they'll change their mind and make sure that they vote to have those funds restored to the budget. And of course, for the year 2006, when we looked at the proposed budget, there was no money placed there for Upward Bound and none for the Educational Talent Search Program.
Now, this really, Ms. Hayes, leaves a big gap in terms of just the service that the government has provided in this particular. Now, I understand that the No Child Left Behind program is supposed to pick up the slack in. How do they anticipate doing this?
Well, right now, the only thing we have heard about is the high school initiative. And that is just to make sure that all children at all levels can read and have an understanding. But as far as how they're going to implement it, we haven't been able to find anything about any statistical data, anything that shows how they're actually going to perform these particular things. Whereas our records reflect our successes.
Your commitment to what you're doing,
Right.
and
Yes.
your ability to be able to do what you're doing.
Exactly.
And so when you say that you're dealing with 600 or 700 young people here, and we multiply that all across the nation, that's going to leave a big gap in terms of access to a large number of people. Do you think that this new initiative will be able to cover that gap, or what's going to happen to these young people then?
I think they may fall through the cracks. And that was one of the reasons why these programs were actually implemented, because a lot of these students were falling through the cracks. They were, missing the mark because they didn't have the resources.
You might have fallen into the crack in terms of, not to be personal, but in terms of your own experiences and coming out of Pearl and then going to Tennessee State University under this program, and et cetera. You might not have been as successful as you are now, had not there. And so, and I would imagine, Ms. Love, we can take her experiences, and you know of young people who've been through the program and who have gone out to be very, very successful and contact you, and we can take that and multiply that. And so that's a track record that you think that you have, that you don't believe that can be eliminated, and something else that will be put in its place. That neither of the two of you know that much about anyway. Is that what we're saying? Well, now, who knows something about what will be done in reference to this? I mean, is there some source of information that will come down in reference to when Upward Bound is not funded, or educational talent search is not funded, we're going to do this or we're going to do that? I mean, is there any kind of plan laid out in reference to that?
I have not seen anything in writing yet. We are looking to see if there will be anything placed on the web that will indicate to us what this high school initiative program really involves and how they go to reach the masses. We don't really
And you mean we've reached a point now where we're talking about eliminating two very, very effective programs, not only at Tennessee State University, but where all across the nation. Because and we're at the point of eliminating these programs with proven track records, programs that have been, in many instances, I would imagine, underfunded. People, and you've even used those underfunded situations in order to bring in more people into the program, and we're going to eliminate that program, we're saying, and we're going to put in place what?
The high school initiative.
The high school initiative.
Whatever that is.
Okay, and so I guess, well, we've got about a minute and a half, Ms. Love, for you and Ms. Hayes, if you've got a final comment before we end the show for today.
Okay. Well, I think there's some feeling that these programs were not reaching all the students who actually need the service. Of course, we've always looked at those high school students, as Ms. Hayes has mentioned, who were not performing at the level they should, or who were not passing the gateway test, or who are performing on the TCAP and those kinds of things. So we have gone in, as she mentioned earlier, and we've actually worked. We go to these schools twice a week, and we normally serve those middle schools that feed to the high schools that we're working with. And of course, our focus is on Pearl Cone High School, Stratford, Maplewood, Whites Creek. And we provide services also for those middle schools that feed to Maplewood. That's Jerry Baxter and Great Mar. And of course, Bass feeds to Pearl Cone. So as she mentioned earlier, we started with those kids in the 5th grade, and we follow them from that on through high school. As a matter of fact, the counselor at the middle school also serves a high school that these middle schools feed to.
Very good.
So when the kids get to high school, they'll see the same familiar face, and we can provide those services.
And so you've got a network. As we end the show for today, we've got about 10 or 15 seconds
Okay.
ago, but you've got a network already in place,
Yes.
already doing great things,
Yes.
and already reaching a large number of individuals.
Yes.
And now that is, there's a proposal to eliminate that.
eliminate.
And of course, I think the only thing we can say is that our audience is certainly aware of some of the situations, and we'll be, again, encourage them to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you, and good morning.